My phone vibrates against my desk, the screen flashing with a series of fraud alerts from my platinum card. $35,000. My coffee mug slips from my fingers, shattering against the polished surface of my desk. Hot liquid seeps into the project files I'd just finished, 3 weeks of work ruined in an instant. No, 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 I whisper, frantically dabbing at the spreading stain with a handful of tissues. But it's useless. Just like the birthday I'm spending alone at my design firm in downtown Denver, working late again because deadlines wait for no one, not even 29-year-old women whose families have forgotten what day it is. I abandon the soggy mess and stare at my phone. The charges are from Snowmass Lodge in Aspen, of those places where a bottle of water costs more than an entire meal anywhere else. The same resort where my sister June mentioned she'd be networking this weekend. My hands shake as I dial my parents' number. Mom answers on the 4th ring, her voice casual, as if we'd spoken just yesterday instead of a week ago when I'd transferred another $3,000 into their account. Lydia, honey, is something wrong? It's awfully late. There's $35,000 in charges on my platinum card from Snowmass Lodge. My voice sounds strange, hollow. Did someone steal my card? A pause. Then Dad's voice joins in. They've put me on speaker. Now, Lydia, don't get worked up. June needed a little treat. She's been working so hard looking for the right opportunity. The room tilts sideways. You gave June my credit card? Just as a small treat, Mom repeats, her voice soothing in that way that's always made me doubt my own reactions. She's networking with some very important people. 18 months ago, I moved my design workspace into my childhood bedroom. Dad's business had collapsed under a mountain of debt, and the family home, the one with the hand-carved banister and the kitchen where Mom taught me to bake snickerdoodles, was weeks away from foreclosure. I'd stepped in, became the mortgage guarantor, moved back home to save on rent. It's temporary, Dad had promised, his hand on my shoulder, just until I get back on my feet. Temporary stretched into permanent. My 70-hour work weeks covered the $12,500 monthly expenses, while my parents praised June's aggressive job hunting. Sunday dinners became my responsibility too, cooking through exhaustion while June scrolled through her phone, occasionally showing Mom pictures of places she'd like to vacation someday. Last month, I confronted Mom about the empty pantry. I gave you $4,000 for groceries 3 weeks ago, I said, staring at the bare shelves. Mom didn't look up from her magazine. Prices are up, dear. Your sister needs proper nutrition for job interviews. My hands had stopped trembling then, just as they stopped trembling now. A strange calm settles over me as I pull up my banking statements. There's $3,800 in charges at Whole Foods and Bristol Farms this month alone. I say, my voice steady. What exactly is June eating? Dad clears his throat. Now, Lydia, you know women are better with the shopping. Your mother handles all that. The unspoken implication hangs in the air. Don't question. Don't look too closely. Don't disrupt our comfortable arrangement. But I'm the mortgage guarantor. If my credit is ruined, we all lose the house. I look down at the banking app still open on my phone, scrolling through transaction after transaction. Something catches my eye, a charge at Nordstrom that matches a designer handbag I've seen somewhere before. Then I remember, June posted a photo on Instagram last week. Treating myself, the caption read. I'd assumed it was a knockoff. Across the room, Mom shifts in her chair, and I glimpse the edge of a familiar-looking bag partially hidden behind her seat. The same pale pink leather, the same gold hardware. Lydia? Are you still there? Dad's voice breaks through my thoughts. I need to go, I say quietly. My desk is covered in coffee and I have a presentation tomorrow. I hang up before they can respond, before they can offer the excuses I know by heart. The fraud alerts continue to light up my phone, each one a betrayal from the people who should have protected me. And for the first time in 18 months, I wonder if it's time to stop protecting them. Next morning, the beep of my voicemail echoes through the empty kitchen. It's 5:30 a.m., and I've been awake since 3, my mind racing with numbers and betrayal. I press play, expecting another creditor hunting Dad's unpaid bills. Instead, June's voice fills the room. Mom, I need the platinum card before Lydia changes the PIN again. The limit should cover the full weekend at Snowmass. My stomach lurches. I grab the counter, knuckles white against the marble. Don't worry about her finding out. June continues, laughter bubbling through her words. She never checks the statements until the end of the month. By then, I'll have made some connections that could really help all of us. Dad's voice rumbles in the background. Tell her we'll leave it in the usual spot. I sink onto the bottom stair, the cold wood pressing against my thighs. The nausea intensifies as June adds, remember last time she freaked about the Nordstrom charges? God, she acts like we're stealing, as if she doesn't owe us after everything you guys did raising her. Mom's voice clearer now. She's always been so uptight about money. Not like you, sweetheart. The message ends. My hand trembles as I press play on the next one, recorded just 2 days ago. Got the card, June says. The room is amazing. You guys should see the view of the mountains from here. The betrayal wraps around my chest like a vice. Not a mistake, not an impulse. A coordinated plan by all three of them. When I confront them 3 hours later, they're already waiting at the kitchen table. June's voice emerges from Dad's phone on speaker, the tinny sound of her ordering room service in the background. Just some fresh berries, the avocado toast with the poached eggs, and a mimosa, she tells someone before addressing us. Lydia, you're overreacting. It's family money. I remain standing while they lounge in their chairs. Mom sips her coffee, avoiding my eyes. Tell her, Dad. June prompts through the speaker. Dad clears his throat. Look, Lydia, we're in a bit of a situation. Our cards are maxed out too. There was no other option. No other option? The words escape through clenched teeth. Well, there's also the tax lien. Dad adjusts his reading glasses, a nervous tell I recognize from childhood. I meant to tell you. The IRS filed it last month. That's why I needed the extra $4,000. Mom reaches for my hand. I pull away. And I've been giving June a little of the grocery money each week, she admits, her voice soft. She needed professional clothes for interviews. June sighs through the speaker. It's family money anyway. Don't be so uptight. Dad waves his hand dismissively. You'll make more next month. You always do. The realization hits me with stunning clarity. I haven't been a daughter to them for 18 months. I've been an ATM. My job requires a credit check every 6 months. I say, my voice steadier than I feel. If my score drops because of this debt, I could lose my security clearance. I could lose everything. You're being dramatic, June says. I hear ice clinking in a glass. The interest alone on $35,000 would wipe out my emergency fund. I continue. Did any of you think about that? Mom studies her coffee cup. We assumed you'd just pay it off. And if I don't? June's tone sharpens. Then I'll come to your precious design firm and tell everyone how you abandoned your family. How would that look to your fancy clients? June, Dad warns, but there's no real reprimand in his voice. If we lose the house, it would be on you, Mom adds quietly, after everything we've done for you. I walk to Dad's office without responding. The filing cabinet in the corner contains every important family document, organized by my father back when he ran a legitimate business. I find what I'm looking for in the third drawer. The deed to the house, transferred to my name 18 months ago when Dad faced the tax lien, a fact they've apparently forgotten. As I hold the deed papers in my hands that night, I wonder if I should confront them immediately with this leverage, or develop a more comprehensive plan. Immediate confrontation might stop the bleeding, but patience might allow me to secure my future once and for all. What would you do when the family that should protect you becomes the threat you need protection from? June returns from Aspen with a tan that cost more than my first car. She tosses her designer luggage in the foyer and announces she's hosting a homecoming dinner tonight. I already picked up groceries, she says, waving my credit card statement in my face like a trophy. The least you can do is show up on time. I stand in the kitchen doorway that evening, watching my parents fawn over June's overcooked pasta and watery sauce. The table groans under bottles of wine that match the ones I'd bookmarked for a client project, bottles I can't afford for myself but apparently fund for my sister's dinner parties. My stomach growls. I haven't eaten since yesterday. The grocery money I transferred to the family account last week disappeared into whatever feast June is presenting tonight. Each bite they take feels like another dollar being sucked from my account. Lydia, honey, sit down, Mom says, not looking up from her heaping plate. June has exciting news. June straightens, tossing her hair back. Remember those investors I met in Aspen? They love my business concept. I just need startup capital. 50,000 should do it. She turns to me with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. We all know who has the deepest pockets in this family. Dad nods enthusiastically. This could be the opportunity that turns everything around for us. Us. Not me. Never me. Oh, and I borrowed your laptop to finalize my business plan, June adds casually. Hope you don't mind. I find them in my office the next morning. Papers scattered across my desk, drawers hanging open, my laptop nowhere to be seen. The lock I installed last week has been pried off, wood splintered around the doorframe. That night, I stare at my bedroom ceiling until 3 a.m., heart pounding every time a floorboard creaks. By dawn, I've moved my passport, birth certificate, and the house deed to a lockbox in my car trunk. The irony doesn't escape me. I'm hiding my possessions in my own home. When my work presentation falls flat the next day, my boss pulls me aside. Lydia, is everything all right? You look exhausted. Before I can answer, my phone vibrates another creditor calling about my father's unpaid medical bills. I silence it with trembling fingers. Just a rough night, I lie. At the financial advisor's office later that day, I spread out 3 months of bank statements while she reviews the spreadsheet I've created. Every unauthorized charge, every borrowed dollar meticulously documented. These patterns constitute financial abuse, she says gently. You understand that, right? I nod, my throat tight. That evening, I hide my phone behind a potted plant, recording as my parents and June discuss accessing my 401k just temporarily for June's business venture. I tell myself this evidence might be necessary someday, but the truth burns in my chest. I'm preparing for war against my own family. Between meetings the next day, I check my email and find a message from Great Aunt Delilah in Santa Fe. The subject line reads simply, "When you're ready." Your grandfather always said, "The strength to say no is worth more than the money to say yes." I have staff housing above my bistro. Call me when you're ready. That evening, I find Dad in his workshop, sanding a coffee table that looks identical to the 3 others gathering dust in the corner. No one wants handcrafted furniture when IKEA exists, but he refuses to adapt his business model just like he refuses to acknowledge reality in every other aspect of his life. Dad, we need to talk about the credit cards. He doesn't look up. Family supports each other no matter what. That's what makes us family. The words hit a switch inside me, illuminating years of manipulation. Support goes both ways, I say, my voice steadier than I expected. What I've been giving isn't support, it's surrender. His sander stills. What's that supposed to mean? It means I know about the quitclaim deed. His face pales as he sets down his tools. That was just a temporary legal maneuver, to protect us from the tax lien. To protect you? I correct him. And now it protects me. In that moment, standing among the sawdust and failed projects, I realize my worth isn't measured by what I provide to my family. It never was. Later that night, Aunt Delilah emails detailed employment contracts for all 3 family member server positions at her bistro, with staff housing included. Her terms are clear. Actual work for actual pay. No handouts. They'll resist structure and accountability, she writes. But that's exactly what they need. Her follow-up call comes as I'm researching the housing market in our neighborhood. They broke your trust, she says when I express doubts about my plan. You don't owe them a warning. The next morning, I book 3 one-way tickets to Santa Fe using June's dormant credit card, the one she forgot she had when claiming poverty. The real estate developer who's been eyeing our property for years answers on the first ring. Still interested in the Churchill Heights location, I ask? Absolutely. All cash offer, as discussed. 3 days later, I stand in the driveway watching my family pile into Dad's car for what they think is a bonding weekend at a mountain resort, me birthday gift to them. The house keys feel heavy in my palm, the signed listing agreement tucked in my pocket. As their taillights disappear around the corner, I take out my phone and call the realtor. They're gone, bring the sign. Later that day, the house feels different with them gone. Quieter, certainly, but there's something else in absence of weight I hadn't realized I'd been carrying. I move through each room with purpose, my footsteps echoing against hardwood floors that have supported 3 generations of Carringtons. In my childhood bedroom, the one I'd surrendered to my design business 18 months ago, I pull open drawers and methodically remove my possessions. Each item goes into labeled boxes: clothing, design materials, personal. My phone buzzes with texts from June asking if I've seen her favorite scarf. I silence it without responding. The vintage roll-top desk that once belonged to my grandfather yields old bank statements and receipts. I photograph each one, creating a digital record of my financial history with the family. When I find the jewelry box containing my grandmother's pearl earrings, the ones Mom borrowed last Christmas, I secure it in my purse rather than the moving boxes. By noon, I've changed the locks. The locksmith raises an eyebrow when I explain the situation. Family troubles? He asks, handing me the new keys. Family solutions, I correct him. While he's still loading his tools into his van, my phone rings. It's Sandra, the realtor I contacted yesterday. Lydia, you won't believe this. I've already received a full-price offer. The developer I mentioned, they're prepared to close within the week, all cash. My hand tightens around the phone. That's faster than I expected. Cash offers move quickly. They're eager to break ground on that new complex. Should I tell them you need more time? I look around at the half-packed boxes, at the framed family photo still hanging crookedly in the hallway, my father's arm around June's shoulders, my mother smiling at them both while I stand slightly apart. Always the observer. Number fast is good. 2 hours later, I'm sitting across from Teresa Blackwell, the attorney I found through Aunt Delilah's network. She reviews the quitclaim deed, nodding as she flips through the pages. This is ironclad, Miss Carrington. Your father transferred complete ownership to you. There's no provision for reversion or co-ownership. And the sale? With this deed and your documentation, you're within your legal rights to sell without their consent. She removes her glasses. Though I should advise you that family real estate transactions often lead to litigation? Let them try. I slide the folder of recorded conversations across her desk. I have June on tape admitting to credit card fraud. Teresa's eyebrows rise slightly the closest she comes to showing surprise. That should be quite persuasive. I'll contact the developer's legal team today. Back at the house, I'm wrapping grandmother's china when my phone vibrates. June's name flashes on the screen. Against my better judgment, I answer. We need another $2,000, she announces without preamble. Santa Fe is more expensive than we thought, and Dad found this amazing local artist who… Number. The silence on the other end lasts 3 full seconds. What do you mean, no? It's just $2,000. You make that in what, a week? I'm not sending more money, June. Fine, whatever. I'll just use your card again. We all know where you keep the… I've canceled all my cards and opened new accounts. You won't find them in my desk drawer anymore. Her laugh has a brittle edge. You act like this is some big secret. Mom and Dad have been using your cards for months. It's family money. The recorder app on my laptop blinks red as it captures every word. Is that why you charged $35,000 at Snowmass Lodge? Oh, please, like you couldn't afford it. Besides, that's what family does. We take care of each other. By committing fraud? Another pause. You wouldn't dare call it that. If you even think about making trouble, I'll contest any crazy thing you might be planning. Dad says the house is still technically family property regardless of some stupid paper he signed. I end the call and immediately send the recording to her email with a single line. Legal definition of admission of guilt. Within minutes, my parents' number lights up my phone. 5 missed calls. 7 text messages, each more frantic than the last. What have you done? June is hysterical. We need to talk about this as a family. Your father never meant to sign over the house completely. Did you know about the investment account? Lydia, Eleanor Carrington, answer your phone right now. We can explain everything. I silence the phone and return to packing. The movers arrive tomorrow. Later that evening, as I'm labeling the last box of kitchen items, my attorney calls. The developer has agreed to the expedited closing. We can have funds transferred by Friday. She pauses. They've asked if your family will need a grace period to vacate the property. The question catches me off guard. Would mercy now invite future manipulation, or would a clean break without compromise finally teach them the lesson they needed to learn? I think of June's casual admission about the credit cards, of Dad's dismissal of my concerns, of Mom hiding designer bags behind chairs while pleading poverty. No grace period, I decide, but I have made other arrangements. After hanging up, I call Aunt Delilah. It's happening faster than expected, I tell her. Can your offer of housing still stand? The apartments above the bistro are ready whenever they are, she says. And I've drawn up employment contracts for all 3 of them. Real work, real wages. They won't like that. They don't have to like it. They just have to decide if pride is worth homelessness. Her voice softens. How are you holding up, sweetheart? Better than expected. My boss has approved remote work for the next month while I transition. And the house? Closing Friday. 1.65 million, all transferred to my new account. We talk a while longer about practical matters, furniture storage, mail forwarding, the movers coming tomorrow. As we're about to hang up, my phone beeps with an incoming call. That's Mom, I say, checking the screen. Are you going to answer? Not tonight. After we disconnect, I listen to the voicemail. Mom's voice sounds different, smaller, without its usual confident edge. Lydia, please call me back. Just me, not your father or June. A shaky breath. I know I've been. I should have stopped your sister years ago. I just didn't know how. Another pause. Whatever you're planning, please just talk to me first. Outside, the moving truck pulls into the driveway. The neighbors across the street stand on their porch, watching openly now. Mrs. Grayson, who has lived there for 30 years, waves tentatively. I wave back, then turn to face the house that will soon have a sold sign on its lawn. Tomorrow, my family returns, expecting everything to be exactly as they left it. They have no idea what awaits them. When my family returned from their trip, they immediately called me to the house. My rental car pulls up to the curb in front of what was once my childhood home. The large SOD sign dominates the front lawn where my father's prized hydrangeas used to bloom. My family stands huddled near the front porch, their suitcases scattered around them like abandoned life rafts. My phone vibrates against the console. Dad again. Lydia, sweetheart, there's been a misunderstanding with the house. Call us immediately. I step out of the car clutching a manila envelope. The weight of it feels substantial in my hand. 18 months of evidence, all neatly organized. Mom spots me first. Her face crumples into the theatrical sob I've seen countless times, usually when she wants something expensive. How could you do this to your own family? Her voice carries across the lawn, designed to draw attention from the neighbors peeking through their blinds. June stands with her arms crossed, designer sunglasses hiding her eyes but not the tight line of her mouth. We need to talk now. Her voice lacks its usual breezy confidence. Dad steps forward, hands raised in a placating gesture that once made me feel safe. Lydia, listen. We can negotiate here. This house, there was a family understanding about ownership. Understanding? I keep my voice level. You tricked me into signing that quitclaim deed, he says, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. I never would have signed if I knew you'd pull something like this. Something like what? Protecting my assets? June steps forward. Look, I know things got a little out of hand with the credit card, but we'll pay you back when my business takes off. My Aspen connections are solid. My mother nods eagerly. Just a few more months, sweetheart. Your father has prospects. The same promises, recycled endlessly like the birthday cards they regift to me each year with the wrong age. I open the manila envelope and pull out the first document. This is the original quitclaim deed you signed 18 months ago, Dad. Your signature, witnessed by your own attorney. I place it on the hood of my car and add another paper. This is a transcript of June's voicemail to you both, planning to use my credit card before she changes the PIN again. My father's face pales. I continue laying out documents one by one. Bank statements showing $3,800 in grocery charges when the pantry remained empty. Credit card bills with June's Aspen charges highlighted. Tax lien notices you hid from me while I paid the mortgage. Now, Lydia, my father starts, but his voice lacks conviction. The house sale is final. The proceeds have covered your tax lien, my maxed-out credit cards, and 18 months of supporting 3 adults. I pull out 3 plane tickets. Aunt Delilah has housing and jobs waiting for you in Santa Fe. Here are your tickets for tomorrow morning. June snatches the ticket from my hand, then freezes as she examines it. This was charged to my credit card. You had no right. The same right you had to use mine. I reply. The difference is, I recorded you admitting to fraud, which means you can either accept these tickets or explain to the police why you stole $35,000. From my briefcase, I withdraw 3 identical folders and hand one to each family member. These are invoices detailing everything I've paid for since moving back home. Mom flips through the pages, her face flushing darker with each turn. We're your parents. You can't charge us for raising you. This starts 18 months ago, when I became the parent. I say, my voice carrying across the lawn. Before that is free. Neighbors have abandoned all pretense of not watching. Mrs. Henderson waters the same patch of grass she's been standing by for 10 minutes. Rent at market rate for the master bedroom you took over while I slept in my childhood twin bed. I continue. Groceries, utilities, property taxes, car insurance for vehicles I don't drive, clothing allowances, June's spa days. June tries to walk away, her heels stabbing into the soft grass. I wouldn't leave if I were you, I call after her. The credit card debt is legally in your name now. I have the transfer documentation right here. She stops, her shoulders rigid. You have two choices? I say, gesturing toward the tickets on the hood of my car. Accept Aunt Delilah's offer or figure it out yourselves, but you won't be figuring it out with my money anymore. Dad looks at Mom, a silent communication passing between them. For the first time, I recognize it for what it is, not the romantic telepathy I once imagined, but the conniving of co-conspirators. I slide back into my car and watch through the windshield as reality settles over them. Their voices rise in argument, Mom pointing at June shoving Dad's shoulder when he tries to calm her. My phone buzzes with a text from a friend who works at the local bank. Quentin and Margot just got rejected for a personal loan. Third bank this morning. The moving truck that contains what little I salvaged from my childhood pulls away from the curb. I watch my family in the rearview mirror, still huddled on the lawn, still arguing about whose fault this is. No one waves goodbye. As I drive toward my new downtown loft, the weight on my shoulders lifts for the first time in 18 months. The invoice has been delivered. Payment, in one form or another, will finally be collected. A year later, morning sunlight streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows of my downtown Denver loft, casting golden rectangles across the polished concrete floor. 6 team members sit around my conference table, nodding as I walk them through the presentation for our biggest client. The interactive elements need to be intuitive enough for their older demographic. I say, swiping through mock-ups on the wall-mounted screen, let's revise the navigation once more before Thursday's pitch. My phone buzzes on the table. 4 times in rapid succession. A year ago, I would have lunged for it, heart racing, wondering what family crisis needed my immediate attention. Today, I glance at it briefly, note the bank notification icon, and turn back to my team. Danny, can you walk us through the user testing results? My phone remains face down. Do not disturb, engaged during working hours. The framed poster behind my desk catches the morning light. Generosity without boundaries isn't kindness, it's self-neglect. Beside it hangs my Innovation and User Experience Award from last month for the project that had once been coffee-stained and delayed by family demands. After the meeting disperses, I check my notifications. A fraud alert from my credit card company, $2,400, charged at an electronics store in Phoenix. I settle into my ergonomic chair and methodically report the fraudulent charges, request a replacement card, and document the case number in my financial spreadsheet. No racing pulse, no shattered coffee mugs. Just a minor inconvenience to be handled between client calls. Lydia? Mark from the marketing team leans against my doorframe. I hate to ask, but I'm in a bind with the Davidson proposal. Could you front me the deposit for the focus group facility? Just this once? The company card is maxed from that conference last week. I meet his eyes, noting the casual expectation in his tone. The company has an established process for expense advances. Paula in accounting can help you submit the request form. But that takes 3 days and I need it today. Then you should have planned accordingly. The words come easily now, without guilt or second guessing. I'd be happy to help you prioritize the timeline if the focus group needs rescheduling. He blinks, surprised at the boundary, then nods. Yeah, okay, thanks anyway. I recognize entitlement so quickly now, spotting the familiar patterns in colleagues, clients, even potential dates. The clarity feels like a superpower. Saturday afternoon finds me at Aunt Delilah's Bistro in Santa Fe. Through the kitchen window, I spot my father expediting orders while my mother arranges fresh flowers on the tables. June emerges from the back, carrying trays with practiced efficiency. Later, Delilah and I share dinner on her apartment balcony overlooking the plaza. She raises her wine glass to drawing lines in the sand and standing behind them. I clink my glass against hers, savoring the cool Chardonnay. I couldn't have done it without you. Nonsense. Delilah's eyes crinkle at the corners. Your grandfather would have done exactly the same thing. That backbone of yours is pure Carrington steel. When I return to Denver on Sunday, a certified letter waits in my mailbox. Inside is an envelope containing $4,000 in crisp hundreds and a handwritten note from June. Lydia, this is this month's payment. I'll send the same amount monthly until it's repaid. You were right. Real respect comes from earning your way, not taking someone else's. Mom and Dad started counseling last week. Things are different here. Maybe someday they will be between us too. June. I carry the cash to my home office and add it to my future home fund rather than depositing it into my checking account. As I file June's first repayment, I wonder if some relationships can only heal after they're broken completely and rebuilt from scratch. Is it better to forgive family who've hurt you once they've faced consequences? Or is maintaining distance the only way to ensure the cycle doesn't begin again? I stand frozen in Bella's bridal boutique, my fingers hovering inches from the elegant white gown suspended before me. A deliberate slash runs along the seam, parting the delicate fabric like a wound. The cut is Precesino accident or manufacturing flaw. Someone took a blade to my wedding dress. Miss Alden? The boutique owner approaches, her heels clicking softly against the hardwood floor. I am so sorry. We only discovered it during final pressing. My throat tightens. 2 days. The wedding is in 2 days. I reach out, my hand trembling as I trace the damaged seam. The cut travels 14 inches from below the bodice, curving along the hip of the A-line skirt. The dress I saved 8 months to afford. Can it be fixed? My voice sounds distant, like it belongs to someone else. Mrs. Valenti's sympathetic eyes tell me everything. We'll try. Our seamstress will work through the night if necessary, but I must warn you the fabric is delicate. The repair might show. A flash of my childhood bedroom walls me in. 10 years old, standing before my mirror in a homemade costume for the school play. Mari barging in, laughing at my pathetic attempt. Hours later, finding the costume torn. Mom sighing, "Why can't you be careful with your things like your sister?" The memory twists inside me like a knife. Growing up in our modest Denver home meant living in Mari's shadow. While I excelled in academics, Mari's modeling photos dominated our living room. At 13, she landed her first magazine spread. By 17, she had become a regional beauty name with a growing social media following. I blink back to the present, my hands clenched. Vivian? Mrs. Valenti touches my arm. Do you want to call someone? My high school graduation surfaces next, the valedictorian speech I practiced for weeks. Scanning the audience to find my parents' seats empty. They had left early for Mari's casting call in Boulder. Dad texted later. Sorry, kiddo. Mari needed us. The pattern never broke. When I asked about college funding, Mom laughed. College would be a waste of money for you. Mari's career is taking off. That's where our investment belongs. Mrs. Chang, my English teacher, became my salvation. She helped me land my first proper job at 19, recommended design courses, celebrated my achievements when no one else would. By 23, I had saved enough to move out, finding peace in the distance from my family's toxic orbit. Then Elliot Warren walked into my life at a coffee shop, spilling his latte across my sketches. His horrified expression melted into genuine interest in my work. Our first date stretched into 5 hours of conversation. His family welcomed me instantly, Gregory and Patricia asking about my designs, remembering details about my projects, showing up to my first gallery showing. The contrast to my own family cut deep. Vivian? Mrs. Valenti's voice pulls me back. My phone buzzes in my pocket. A text from Mari. Hope everything's going smoothly with your preparations. The pieces click together with crystal clarity. 3 months ago, I called my mother with the engagement news. Her response, "Oh, that's nice, dear. Did I tell you Mari booked that national skincare campaign?" A week later, Mari cornered me at Sunday dinner, her practiced smile never reaching her eyes. "Oh, you're doing a small wedding, right? I guess it's fine if I get married the same day." The shock when Mari announced she'd booked her wedding at Aspen Ridge, the exact venue Elliot and I had reserved, still burns. Her ceremony scheduled 90 minutes before ours. Her guest list 3 times larger. Her dress featured in a local magazine spread. And now this. Mrs. Valenti. I straighten my shoulders. I'll pick up the dress tomorrow at noon. But the wedding will go on. Something hardens inside me. Please tell your seamstress I appreciate her efforts. Outside in my car 15-20 minutes later, I grip the steering wheel until my knuckles whiten. My phone buzzes again with another text from Mari. By the way, I think Mom invited some of Elliot's relatives to my ceremony. Hope that's okay. I take a long, steady breath. For 27 years, I've tried to earn my family's love, stepping aside, staying quiet, accepting scraps of attention. But this my wedding dress. My day, this is where it ends. They've made their choice. Now I make mine. Later that day, I push through the revolving door of Aspen Ridge's grand entrance, my wedding planner Cynthia 2 steps behind me clutching her clipboard. The afternoon sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating the marble floors where my heels click with military precision. Your ballroom is the cedar room, Cynthia says, flipping through her notes. We confirmed it 3 times. The venue coordinator, a tall woman with a permanent customer service smile, meets us halfway across the lobby. Miss Alden, there's been a slight adjustment to your arrangements. My stomach drops. What kind of adjustment? You've been moved to the Pinewood room. She glances at her tablet. The change was approved by your wedding coordinator. I'm her coordinator. Cynthia steps forward. I approve nothing. The woman's smile falters. The request came from Mari Alden. She said she was helping coordinate both weddings and that you'd agreed to the switch. A familiar voice carries from the adjoining corridor. My mother's laugh, followed by her words, clear as crystal. Of course Mari's wedding is the main event. The cedar room is perfect for her guest count. I steady myself against a nearby column, fingers pressing into the cool stone. The cedar roomy dream space with its waterfall backdrop and panoramic mountain views. The room I reserved 6 months ago with the first check I'd ever written for 5 figures. The Pinewood room holds 50 people, correct? Cynthia asks. The coordinator nods. It's more intimate. A code word for smaller, less significant, second best. Mari has invited several members of the Warren family to her ceremony. The coordinator continues, checking her list. She mentioned they were shared relatives. They're not her relatives at all, I say, my voice tight. They're my fiancé's family. Oh. Her eyes widen slightly. She specifically requested Gregory and Patricia Warren be seated near the front. Elliot's parents. My future in-laws. The only parental figures who've shown me genuine support. A text buzzes on my phone. Mari. Had to invite Greg and Patricia to my ceremony since they're basically family now. Tom's hitting it off with Elliot's dad business connections, you know. Don't worry, they can still make it to your little event after. The coordinator lowers her voice. Miss Aldenmere mentioned she was doing you a favor by helping plan. She said you were struggling with the details. Blood pounds in my ears. 20 minutes later, I stand in the Pinewood room. It's fine. Serviceable. A corner space with modest windows and basic white walls. A wedding hall for someone who doesn't matter. My phone rings. Elliot. Mari's fiancé just called me, he says without preamble. He suggested we combine our weddings to save face, since most of the guests will be at theirs anyway. I press my forehead against the window glass. What did you say? I told him I'd marry you in a courthouse tomorrow if that's what you wanted. His voice softens. This is our day, Viv, not theirs. For the first time since finding my slashed wedding dress, tears threaten to fall. A text from my father arrives. Your sister just needs more attention, she always has. Please don't make this difficult. I could recite those words from memory. The mantra of my childhood. Later that evening, my apartment door clicks open. Elliot enters carrying takeout bags from our favorite Thai place. My coworkers' supportive messages still light up my phone offers to help with flowers, photography, anything I need. Your mom stopped by the boutique, Elliot says, setting down the food. She's checking on the dress repairs. I blink. My mother? No, mine. Mom was furious when I told her what happened. Something inside me fractures. I sink onto the couch, 27 years of composed smiles and swallowed hurt rising like a tidal wave. They never saw me, I whisper as Elliot sits beside me. Not once. Not when I graduated top of my class. Not when I got my first design contract. Not when I moved out. My voice breaks. They won't even see me on my wedding day. Elliot pulls me against his chest, his heartbeat steady under my ear. I see you, Vivian. My parents see you. Everyone who matters sees you. The phone rings. Gregory Warren's name appears on the screen. Vivian. he says when I answer. May I ask what ballroom number Mari's reception is in? The Cedar Room, I reply, puzzled. Why? Just confirming some details. I hear the scratch of a pen. Don't worry about anything. Focus on your day. When I hang up, Elliot's expression has changed, a mix of amusement and conspiracy. What's your dad planning? I ask. Elliot takes my hands. He wants you to have deniability. But let's just say Dad doesn't appreciate people who manipulate events in his family. The next evening at the rehearsal dinera, small gathering at an Italian restaurant downtown the Warrens, surround me with warmth. Patricia adjusts my hair with motherly care. Gregory shakes hands with each guest, his conversation flowing easily. Across the room, I catch Gregory speaking quietly with Elliot's cousin James, who works at his firm. They glance in my direction, then nod to each other. As dessert arrives, Gregory rises, champagne flute in hand. To Elliot and Vivian, he says, his voice carrying authority without volume. Family is defined not by blood, but by who stands beside you when it matters. Tomorrow will be a day of revelation. His eyes meet mine with unmistakable meaning. For everyone. On the wedding day, I stand before the antique mirror in the small bridal suite, my fingers tracing the nearly invisible repair along the seam of my wedding gown. The boutique seamstress performed a miracle overnight. Only someone who knew exactly where to look would notice the damage now. You look beautiful, Vivian. My makeup artist steps back, admiring her work. Her smile reflects genuine pride rather than the hollow compliments I grew accustomed to throughout childhood. Thank you, Melissa. I study my reflection hair, swept into an elegant updo, minimal makeup highlighting my natural features. Nothing overdone or flashy. Just me, on my terms. A sharp knock interrupts the moment. The door swings open without waiting for a response. Mari stands in the doorway, resplendent in her own wedding gown, a designer creation with crystal beading that catches the light with every movement. Her professionally styled hair cascades in perfect waves, her makeup flawless. Oh, I didn't realize you were still getting ready. Her voice drips with practiced innocence. I just wanted to check if you needed anything before my ceremony starts. Melissa glances between us, sensing the tension crackling in the air. We're fine, thank you. My voice emerges calmer than I feel. Mari steps further into the room, running her fingers along the vintage vanity. Mom thought you might want to use some of my hair accessories. Something a little more substantial. Her eyes flick to my simple pearl pins. Since your ceremony is so intimate. The word intimate curls from her mouth like an insult. Mari. I turn from the mirror to face her directly. Please leave. Her eyes widen with manufactured hurt. I'm just trying to help, Vivi. That's what big sisters do. You've helped enough. I gesture toward the door. Your ceremony starts in 40 minutes. I'm sure you have other things to attend to. For a split second, surprise flashes across her face, so brief anyone else might have missed it. She isn't accustomed to direct confrontation from me. Well, she smooths her gown. Good luck with everything. The door closes behind her with a soft click. I exhale slowly, releasing the breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Wow. Melissa whistles low. That was intense. Family. I shrug, turning back to the mirror. Another knock. Softer this time. Vivian? My mother's voice filters through the door. May I come in? I nod to Melissa, who opens the door. Mom steps inside, dressed in a lavender suit that coordinates perfectly with Mari's wedding colors. She carries a small box. I thought we might discuss the music selection. She sets the box on the vanity. Mari mentioned you hadn't finalized the processional, and I have some suggestions that might work better with the smaller venue. The music was finalized 3 weeks ago. I meet her eyes in the mirror. Classical guitar for the processional, string quartet for the reception. But dear, she persists, wouldn't it be lovely to use the same orchestra as Mari? They could simply continue playing. It would save you the expense, and frankly, the quartet you hired seems a bit amateur. I turn to face her directly. No. Vivian, be reasonable. I said no. My voice remains steady. This is my wedding. My music has been chosen, paid for, and confirmed. She blinks rapidly. Well, I just thought that you could change things at the last minute to make my wedding an extension of Mari's. I finish for her. That's not happening. Her mouth forms a tight line. You've always been so stubborn. I'm only trying to help. You've never tried to help me. Not once in 27 years. The words escape before I can reconsider. Please go. Mari's ceremony starts soon, and I know that's where you want to be. She leaves without another word, the door closing with more force than necessary. Melissa approaches cautiously. Need a minute alone? I shake my head. No, I'm done with those. When she steps out to gather the bouquets, I stand alone before the mirror. The woman staring back at me looks different somehow. Shoulders straight, chin lifted. The repaired dress, with its invisible mending, suddenly feels symbolic. This is my day, I whisper to my reflection. My phone buzzes with a text from Elliot. Just saw your sister's guests arriving. Heard she's telling everyone to stop by the smaller wedding after for free drinks. My dad is having a field day taking notes. Love you. Can't wait to see you. I smile, slipping the phone into my small handbag. Whatever Gregory has planned, I trust him completely. Later that day, walking alone down the aisle feels nothing like I imagined as a little girl. No father's arm to lean on, no mother dabbing proud tears from her eyes. Instead, I move forward on my own strength, head high, eyes fixed on Elliot. The intimate gathering of 50 guest-true friends and Elliot's loving family creates a warmth no grand ceremony could match. Each face represents a genuine connection, not social obligation or status. When Elliot's eyes fill with tears at the sight of me, something breaks open inside my chest. This is what being seen truly feels like. You're extraordinary, he whispers as I reach him. The ceremony unfolds exactly as we planned, personal vows that speak of finding family in unexpected places, of building something new together. No mention of troubled pasts or absent parents. I promise to be the home you never had, Elliot says, his voice steady despite the emotion shimmering in his eyes. A place where you are always seen, always valued, always enough. Afterward, in the smaller ballroom where our reception begins, I notice Gregory checking his watch repeatedly. Mari's ceremony concluded 20 minutes ago. Is everything okay? I ask as he pulls out my chair at the head table. His eyes twinkle. Absolutely perfect. Just keeping track of timing. That's when I notice the ballroom filling with unexpected guests in formal attire, men and women I don't recognize, filing in with champagne flutes already in hand. Elliot? I squeeze his hand. Who are all these people? My new husband leans close, kissing my temple. Just wait. Dad says it's almost time. The string quartet transitions to a lively piece as servers appear with the first course. The mysterious guests mingle comfortably, making themselves at home in our celebration. Then a hush falls across the room. Mari stands in the doorway, still in her full wedding gown, her expression frozen in confusion. Her eyes dart around the packed ballroom, taking in the elegant decorations, the overflowing champagne, the crowd of well-dressed guests. As she steps further inside, recognition dawns on her face. These aren't random wedding crashers. These are her fiancé's colleagues, industry connections, influential people who should be at her reception right now. Gregory rises smoothly from his seat, champagne glass in hand. Ah, Mari, welcome to my son's wedding. His voice carries effortlessly across the now silent room. Isn't it magnificent? And in that moment, watching comprehension wash over my sister's face, I feel something shift irreversibly. The balance of power, tilted against me my entire life, finally rights itself. I stand beside my husband, straightening my shoulders. My day, my terms, my victory. Mari's eyes dart around the room, recognition flickering as she spots face after familiar face. I don't understand, she whispers. Gregory leans closer. Half your guest list works for my firm, he explains, his tone conversational but loud enough that I can hear every word. Did Tom never mention that I oversee human resources for Westridge Architects? When I noticed certain names on both guest lists, I simply made sure my employees understood which wedding took priority. The diamond earrings at Mari's ears tremble as she shakes her head. But I sent personal invitations. And I sent personal reminders, Gregory finishes, raising his glass in a small salute. Remarkable how persuasive a note from one's boss can be. A commotion at the entrance draws our attention. Tom barrels through, his tuxedo slightly askew, face flushed with anger. He freezes mid-stride when he spots the senior partner from his law firm raising a toast with Elliot. What have you done? He hisses at Mari, grabbing her elbow. For the first time in my life, I see genuine panic in my sister's eyes. I didn't know. My entire firm is here, Tom snarls, dropping his voice but not enough to hide his fury. Partners who never accept social invitations came to congratulate me on my wedding only to find themselves at your sister's reception. Mari attempts to salvage the situation with her practiced smile. I just wanted to congratulate my little sister, she announces loudly, voice honey sweet. What a lovely, intimate gathering. Tom's fingers dig deeper into her arm. Stop it, he growls. You made this about your petty games and now I look like a fool in front of my boss. The entrance doors open again. My parents appear, their expressions expectant as they scan the room for Mari's grand celebration. Mom wears the coral dress she showed me 3 times, explaining how perfectly it would photograph against Mari's color scheme. Dad stands behind her, already looking bored. Their faces register confusion, then shock as they take in the scene. Mari cornered by an increasingly agitated Tom, the ballroom filled with elegantly dressed guests toasting Elliot and me. Gregory notices them too. He straightens his tie and walks over, extending his hand to my father. Mr. Alden, he says, his voice carrying. I'm Gregory Warren, Elliot's father. As a father, I wouldn't miss my son's wedding for anything in the world. He pauses, his smile never wavering. Strange how some parents think differently. Dad's hand hangs limply in Gregory's firm grip. Mom's mouth opens and closes without sound. Across the room, Tom's voice rises. You promised this would work. Keep your voice down, Mari hisses. Why? So you can save face? My managing partner just asked why I sent him to the wrong ballroom. Their argument escalates until they're no longer bothering to hide it. Tom throws his hands up. This is exactly like the condo decision and the honeymoon change, you making choices without consulting me. If you'd just listen. I'm done listening. Tom backs away, straightening his jacket. Enjoy your empty reception. As if on cue, a venue staff member approaches Elliot and whispers something. Elliot's eyebrows rise and he turns to me with barely suppressed amusement. Apparently, he murmurs into my ear, Mari's reception across the venue stands nearly empty. Only 12 guests showed up. A strange feeling bubbles up inside me, no satisfaction exactly, but vindication. Years of standing in shadows, of making myself small, of accepting scraps of attention, all of it crystallizes into this perfect moment of clarity. My parents approach, their expressions transformed. Mom reaches for my hands. Vivian, she says, her voice warm in a way I haven't heard directed at me in years. You've always been the more dependable one. Dad nods vigorously beside her. Always knew you would succeed, he adds, as if he hadn't missed every milestone that led to this day. I look at their faces, suddenly eager, suddenly proud, and see the truth. With Mari's star falling, they're scrambling to align themselves with success. The power has shifted, and like weather vanes, they've swung toward the strongest wind. I feel Elliot's hand slide into mine, his thumb brushing reassuringly across my knuckles. His touch grounds me. You don't get to say that now, I tell them, my voice clear and steady. I've already built a life without you. I turn to the nearest staff member. Would you please escort these guests out? They weren't on our list. As they're led away, their protests fading, Elliot pulls me close. The band strikes up our first dance song. Around us, the reception continues. The air lighter somehow, as if the room itself can breathe easier with the toxic elements removed. In Elliot's arms, surrounded by people who choose to celebrate us, I finally understand what family really means. 10 days later, a stream of texts floods my phone as Elliot and I watch the sunset from our rented coastal cottage. The Oregon waves crash against the rocks below, each surge washing away another layer of tension from my shoulders. Mari's latest message glows on the screen. Please call me Viv. Mom and Dad are devastated. Tom left me. Everything's falling apart. I switch off my phone and place it face down on the wooden side table. 10 days of honeymoon peace won't be interrupted by their manufactured crisis. More drama? Elliot asks, his hand finding mine on the porch swing. The usual. Mari's world collapsing. Parents heartbroken. I take a sip of wine, savoring the crisp Pinot Noir from a local vineyard. Apparently Tom walked out after their wedding fiasco. Elliot's thumb traces circles on my palm. Gregory mentioned Robert called him twice this week. Something about investments gone wrong. The pieces connect like a puzzle I no longer care to solve. My parents sank their savings into Mari's elaborate wedding, the now cancelled reception, the designer dress she'd never wear again, the honeymoon suite sitting empty. Not our circus, I whisper. The liberation in those 3 words washes over me like the tide. When we return home a week later, our apartment feels different, lighter somehow. We unpack in comfortable silence, occasionally catching each other's eyes and smiling. The wedding photos arrive the next day. I open the package with Elliot, our heads bent together over the kitchen counter, page after page of genuine joy, my repaired dress catching the light. Elliot's eyes never leaving mine during our vows. Gregory and Patricia flanking us like protective sentinels. Not a single shot includes my biological family. My phone buzzes with another voicemail notification. 14 messages from my mother, 8 from my father, 23 from Mari. I delete them all without listening. 3 days after our return, the doorbell rings. Through the peephole, I spot Mari's familiar silhouette, shoulders hunched, head bowed. It's Mari, I tell Elliot, who looks up from his laptop at the dining table. Your call, he says. I can stay or go. Stay. The word comes out firmer than I intend. I open the door to find my sister stripped of her usual polish. No makeup. Hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. Eyes red-rimmed and swollen. Can I come in? Her voice cracks. I step aside without a word. She enters cautiously, like an animal sensing a trap. Her gaze lands on Elliot, then darts away. I've been trying to reach you, she says. I know. Aren't you going to ask what happened with Tom? I lean against the wall, arms crossed. Does it matter? He said I humiliated him in front of his entire company, that I used him like I use everyone. A tear slides down her cheek. I didn't mean for things to go so wrong, Viv. I just wanted to overshadow me, again. The words come out flat, without the heat I once felt. You've been doing it since we were children, Mari. The only difference is this time you got caught. That's not fair. I just wanted a beautiful wedding. Is that so terrible? I walk to the sideboard where my laptop sits. Let me show you something. With a few clicks, I pull up the security footage from Bella's bridal boutique. The timestamp shows Mari entering through the back door, speaking briefly with someone off camera, then approaching my wedding dress. The scissors glint in her hand before she makes the precise cut. Mari's face drains of color. How did you? Mrs. Valenti recognized you. She has a daughter who follows your Instagram. I toggle to another screen, displaying the group text between Mari and our parents. Mom, just checked Vivian's venue contract. Their deposit only holds until 3 p.m. If your ceremony runs long enough, they'll have to downgrade to the garden space. Dad, smart thinking, princess. She won't even know what happened. Mari, sometimes being the pretty one means being the smart one too. Mari stares at the screen, lips parted. Those were private. So was my wedding dress. I open another file. Here's your social media post mocking my pathetic budget wedding 2 weeks before the ceremony. Her eyes fill with fresh tears. Viv, I was just venting. I never meant. And this, I say, opening the final email, is the most interesting one. The message from our parents to Mari appears on screen. Darling, we've spoken with the venue coordinator. She understands our situation completely. Just make sure you outshine her in every way. We've put aside extra money for your flowers and champagne. No one will even remember her wedding by the time yours is finished. Mari collapses onto our sofa, shoulders shaking. Not the calculated tears I've seen her produce on command since childhood. These convulsions come from somewhere deeper, somewhere perhaps even she didn't know existed. I forgive you. I say, watching her head snap up in disbelief. Not because you deserve it, but because holding on to this anger would only keep me tethered to you. The forgiveness is for me, not you. Viv. We can have a relationship when you get help. Real help, Mari. Not Instagram therapy or whatever spiritual cleanse is trending this month. She rises unsteadily, mascara tracking down her cheeks. What about Mom and Dad? The same applies to them. I move toward the door, opening it wide. Some families aren't made of blood, Mari. I've finally found mine. She pauses at the threshold, fragile and diminished. For a heartbeat, I see the little girl who once braided my hair before school picture day, before competition poisoned everything between us. I really am sorry, she whispers. I know. I close the door gently but firmly behind her. Elliot's arms encircle me from behind. You okay? I lean back against his chest, feeling his heartbeat through my shoulder blades. Better than okay. The weight I've carried since childhood, the constant striving for approval, the silent acceptance of scraps of attention slides away like water finding its level. In its place, something unfamiliar yet welcome settles in my chest. Freedom. I arrange the fresh-cut lilies in a crystal vase, morning light streaming through the bay windows of our new craftsman home. 6 months since the wedding, and sometimes I still wake expecting to find myself back in that cramped apartment, bracing for another text from Mari. "Those look beautiful," Elliot says, sliding a mug of coffee across our kitchen island. His hand covers mine, briefly warm, steady. "Gregory and Patricia will be here in an hour." I remind him, adjusting one stubborn stem. "Dad called this morning. He's bringing those design magazines from New York." Elliot's eyes crinkle at the corners. "He's more excited about your freelance projects than his own retirement plans." The thought warms me. 3 major clients in the past month alone. My UX portfolio growing with work that reflects my vision, not compromises to please difficult bosses or family expectations. I sip my coffee, remembering last week's video call with a tech startup. The founder nodding approvingly at my wireframes. "This is exactly what we need, Vivian. When can you start?" No second guessing, no comparison to someone else's work. Just straightforward appreciation of what I bring to the table. Elliot wraps his arms around my waist from behind. "You disappeared there for a second." "Just thinking about how different everything is now." His chin rests on my shoulder. "Good different?" "The best different." The doorbell chimes. Elliot's parents arrive bearing pastries from that little bakery downtown, and Gregory's promised stack of design periodicals. "Vivian." Patricia enfolds me in a hug that smells of Chanel No. 5, the same perfume she wore to our wedding. "We saw the mock-ups you sent Gregory. Absolutely stunning work." Gregory sets the magazines on the coffee table, his silver hair catching the light. "That healthcare interface will transform how seniors navigate their medical records." His voice carries the same certainty he used when confronting Mari at our reception. "My colleague at Memorial wants to discuss implementing it system-wide." We settle in the living room. No tense silences, no waiting for backhanded compliments, just conversation that flows naturally, punctuated by genuine laughter. "Almost forgot." Gregory pulls an envelope from his jacket. "Your birthday dinner reservation for Saturday. Patricia insisted on Laurel's. They have that chocolate souffle you loved at Christmas." My birthday. 2 weeks away, and they remembered without prompting. After lunch, while Elliot and his father discuss the merger at the architecture firm, Patricia helps me clear plates. "How's therapy going, dear?" she asks quietly, loading the dishwasher. "Good. Hard sometimes." I hand her a serving bowl. "Dr. Winters says healing isn't linear." Patricia nods. "You know, watching you stand up for yourself that day reminded me of when I left my first husband. Terrifying and necessary all at once." I've heard fragments of this story before. Patricia at 24, walking away from a controlling marriage with nothing but a suitcase. "The card came yesterday," I tell her, "from my parents." Her hands pause. "And?" "Standard Hallmark. Hope you're doing well." Mari sent a separate one. "Have you responded?" I shake my head. "Not yet. Mari mentioned she's seeing someone. A therapist, I mean." Patricia simply nods. No pressure either way. That evening, after Elliot's parents leave, we sit on our back deck watching sunset paint the sky. My phone buzzes with a work email, the industry award nomination I'd forgotten about. "They want me at the ceremony next month," I tell Elliot, scanning the details. "Of course they do. You're revolutionizing how people interact with healthcare technology." He squeezes my hand. "We'll be there front row, embarrassingly loud with our cheering." I picture it, looking out from that stage, to see not empty chairs where family should be, but faces bright with genuine pride. The Warrens. My colleagues. Friends who showed up when it mattered. Later, as dusk settles, we discuss our plans for the spare bedroom. "It could be a nursery," Elliot suggests cautiously. "Someday." The idea no longer terrifies me, raising a child, becoming a parent, not with what I've learned about breaking cycles. "Someday," I agree. "When we're ready." The doorbell rings, unexpected at this hour. On the porch sits a small package. Inside, a single white rose and a handwritten note in Mari's precise script. "I'm getting the help I need. Take all the time you need." I place the rose in water but set the note aside. Some wounds heal, some don't. Either way, we move forward. Elliot appears in the doorway, a question in his eyes. It's okay, I tell him, meaning it. We're okay. Family isn't just blood, it's who sees you, who stays, who makes room for all of you, not just the convenient parts. And sometimes, it's who you choose to become,